Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. So the episode started out with Letitia at the house cooking breakfast. Her husband come in and she trying to make it seem like she's all right, but she's not, and he knows that she's not. Whenever she say I'm all right, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, he already knows a problem. So she starts to tell him what happened when they had the little girls' day trip, and basically was like, but yeah, that happened, so what you talking about? And so I'm just like, your own husband confirmed what we've already seen as the viewer and what Melody told you, but you tried to say that it was some BS. So he was like, whether any of this was true or not, what would make you think that anybody would be receptive to you saying that what they are feeling genuinely in that moment, whether they were right or wrong, is BS? Do you think they will be receptive to that? Well, so she was like, okay, so what do you think I should do? You think I need to apologize? He was like, I think you need to leave the door open and just, be open to listen or something. And I'm like, yeah, you know how she is. She is so, I've been trying not to say it, but she just so, it's like she's so ditzy, and it's like she just want to be, it's like she wants to be dumb. I don't be understanding. I'm like, are we not watching the same thing? Are we not watching the same show? Are we not hearing exactly what she's saying to you and what is being played back to prove that you are wrong? Like, what is going on? So anyway, Kimmy went over to see Melody at her new home. She gave her a little tour, and then she went outside, let her see the backyard, and they sat outside and they were drinking tea. So they were talking, and she let her know that yes, it is true that Martell has a baby on the way, and everything went sideways, and that she expected her to speak up for her, knowing that the information that she said before was what it was. And so she was like, well, I'm just staying out of it because every time I've gotten in the middle of it, I end up finding myself in a crazy space, and y'all told me that I need to just stay out of it if I'm not gonna speak up for somebody. And so she was like, nah, if you know something really happened, if you know what the situation really is, you're supposed to speak up. So she was just like, I'm just not trying to be in it. It is what it is. So it's just a mess. And she was like, well, I saw something on social media and asked Melody, is she dating? And so she was like, no. Basically said no. And what I think it might have been was she might have been on a date or just at a dinner with somebody, and they were just showing her a good time. But she's trying to make it seem like she's not dating right now. She was like, I have 4 kids, I'm focused on them and what I'm doing, and that's all I'm doing. So Martell went to go and visit Maurice at his job to talk to him because he might be the only one who has been married once before who has gone through a divorce. So he's talking to him, and Maurice is trying to give him some really good advice, but I'm just like, you could have saved that because this marriage is long over and done. And he was just like, when everything went the way it went with me and Kaiwa, I had to ask myself, like, is it really over? Am I done? It just got to the point where he was just like, nah, I'm good where I'm at. I ain't got nothing else to say to this person. I don't want to be with this person no more. There was no love left. And he notices that whenever Martell talks about his kids and Melody, he lights up. And so he was like, yeah, it is what it is, but no. Everybody need to understand that this relationship is over, even though they felt like that because they've known each other, they grew up together, they'd have been together for like 12 to 14 years. So I understand that. They built businesses together from the ground up. I understand it literally started from the bottom, that we're here. I get all that. But Martell been out here trying her day in and day out for 5+ years with a side heifer. Multiple side heifers he's had, but this is the main side heifer. So it's like, come on now. So I'm gonna need for everybody to just give up on this. Just let it be what it's gonna be. So anyway, Marceau and Letitia are at, I think they're at Black right now, and they have this guy who's gonna be a chef, and they're testing out the menu for Black because they're gonna do a soft opening. It hasn't been open before. They still actually aren't even finished And I'll get to that a little bit later on because they got red for that. But the guy came out, and at first I was like, huh? Let me just sit back and just watch this whole scene play out because I might be overreacting. But I kind of was. So I was like, okay, I'm glad I sat back and watched it. So the guy has brought out food, and, you know, Marceau was just like, you know, the presentation is not up to par. Out of 5, I would give it like a 3. The taste is fine and all this other stuff, but the presentation ain't what it need to be. I want to be able to, he helped me to something I didn't know. If he mentioned it before, I never knew. He said that the reason why he named the place Black, BLAQUE, was because he wanted to be able to have a space where Black people could come and enjoy themselves instead of having to get their money together and really go spend their money elsewhere for more expensive stuff to get the service that they want. He wants that amazing service to be there at a place like that. You know, Black business owners and all of that. So yeah, he was very stern with old boy and told him that he need to get the presentation together and all that. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Before I get this alkaline thing going back up, I'm gonna definitely make me some quesadillas. I got a little bit of chicken in there that I gotta cook, and I'm gonna make me some cake. That's exactly because I was wondering what I was gonna do with it. Because I'm like, I gotta get rid of this chicken because I can't have no meat. I'm gonna definitely make me some quesadillas, and when I make them quesadillas be so good. Y'all be understanding. Y'all don't understand. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up mine, make me some quesadillas again, and start up this alkaline thing like next week. Start it back up. Because it's amazing. If you ain't never done it before, I don't even know how to help you. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I mean, woo child. So anyway, he was very stern with this guy. And I was just like, oh, wow. So after the guy is gone, him and Letitia are still there. And they're eating and they're drinking. And this is when Letitia finds out that he plans on hiring Jalen, who, you know, of course, is Kimmy's son, as the general manager there. And so she was like, why would you do that? He has no experience in that. And he was like, well, I have no experience in any of this either. So, I mean, I feel like he'd be the perfect person. So she in the confessional man wants to see, this is what I'm talking about. He always making these decisions without me. And it's like, I'm 50-50 on it, because it's like a lot of people be making stuff happen and they have no experience, and it ends up working, and they learn along the way what they need to do, the ins and outs of it. But at the same time, I mean, she was talking about how she actually had an interview lined up for somebody who actually had the experience and then some. So she was like, okay, are you going to hire him and then hire this person as well to kind of walk around and show him how things are supposed to be done? And he was just like, nah, I'm going to hire him and that's it. All right. So I was like, oh gosh. So anyway, the soft opening is now upon us, and the guy who was going to be at the banquet spot, which I don't know why I thought the banquet spot was going to be at this same building, but they have another location of stuff they have going on. So the guy who they hired there, he came by, he's a chef or whatever at the other spot. He had him to come over there, and he's been giving him pointers on the plating and all that stuff, the portion sizes. Like, they actually showed him, you know, directing him and letting him know how certain things work and how it can work to his advantage and all of that, portion size, all of that. So then, you know, they left that, and now Jalen and Marceau are talking one-on-one, and he's letting him know that he wants him to be the general manager. And so he was like, and I don't want you to just be the general manager, I want you to actually be a partner in this. So he actually can feel, you know, really like a part of the family like that. Like, really, like, he's like, look, I know you don't have experience in this, but I can trust you. And it's not in a way like, oh, I ain't got to worry about you stealing from me and nothing like that. It's just that, you know, you'll learn. It'll be what it's going to be. And so he was like, oh, okay, well, I got to be somewhere. And so Marceau looked at him like, what? And I'm like, okay, this is going to be the running theme. Every single time we see him, he got to go. He got stuff he got to do. Sir, what is going on? Like, are you just working? Did you get somebody pregnant? What is going on? What is going on? But anyway, but yeah, he looking at him like, well, you gotta go. So anyway, Marsoda rolled up on Melody. Melody was actually in the middle of getting the name changed on one of their buildings to just Melody S. Holt. And of course, he's wondering why all this is going on. Oh, you really changed the name? So she was like, yeah. And yeah, I'm going to keep this last name. I have 4 kids. So, I mean, to me, it's smart for me to keep my last name. It is what it is. So they started talking. And then he lets her know that he is fully aware of what happened when they went on their trip. And so she, explained again and was like, yeah, I ain't got time. Your wife does not want to be receptive to nothing. It don't make no sense. And he was like, I just feel like y'all should be able to talk it out. We are having a soft opening at Black. So she's like, oh, okay. Are y'all finally open? Y'all, finished everything? And so he was like, nah, it's just a soft opening. We ain't finished. So she was like, if you don't get out of my face, see, I was about to just be so happy for y'all. Like, I was just like, yeah, this is crazy. This is so crazy. But yeah, they ain't got nothing done. They not finished yet. So anyway, he's invited her to come there in the hopes that the two of them will talk and be able to hash some stuff out. And I'm just like, I don't think that's the time. That's going to be the time or the place. And so she was like, give me the information. I might show up. It is what it is. So whatever. So he was so inappropriate. Like, I'm just like, what's wrong with you? So they asked her while she was in the middle of talking to him, the people who were, putting up the sign, they asked her, does everything look okay? And so she was like, yeah, pretty much everything does look okay, but something needs to be tilted to the left a little bit. So she turned back around and she had like a lot of boobage going on. And he gonna tell her, you need to button up your shirt. You need to button up all up top. And so she was like, y'all done seen plenty of breasts in y'all life. You know that she didn't say breast. But anyway, I was like, bro. And like the way he said, he was like, I am a married man. You're trying to tempt me. How dare you try to tempt me? Like, he was doing the most. I'm like, I feel like you'd be tempted by Melody anyway, because Melody be looking good all the time. Letitia been trying to look decent as of late. So, Anyway, so Melody has been invited by, I think his name is Chris Fletcher, his wife, to come over. Well, she didn't know this was a setup, which was she invited her and he invited Martell to come over there because they've known them for quite some time and they feel as though their relationship can be saved. And I'm just like, don't save them. They don't want to be saved. They don't need to be saved. It's some trash. It's okay. It's all right that they ain't going to be together no more. Well, Martell thought that it was a good sign that once she found out that he was going to be there, that she didn't bolt it. So I'm like, yeah, you lucky. So anyway, they talking. And of course, it's going left. And he keeps throwing these little jabs at her and expecting her to just sit there and take it. And he was like, well, if you hadn't been pleasing me, if you hadn't been doing what you're supposed to be doing as my wife, then this would have never happened. Didn't nobody tell you to go out there and cheat. You told us that after you told her that things was going the way they was going and that she needed to be better in bed, that she had gotten better in bed. So my thing is, there's only room for improvement. So she actually was making the effort. She was actually trying, but you was still out here thotting and bopping. And why you over here talking? You made the conscious decision to go out there and drop your drawers and insert, your penis into other people, raw, shooting the club up. Because you ain't finna never convince me that you was just sitting up here strapped up every single time you was with any of these folks. In here impregnating folks, and then on the next episode you're gonna have the audacity to be asking for a DNA test. Like I already told y'all, they have already confirmed that that's his child, so he need to go ahead and get over it. But anyway, like she was like, I can't believe you have the audacity to even say any of this to me. And I'm like, girl. But anyway, they ain't got into it so bad. I'm talking about he done triggered Melody so bad. Melody threw the glass at him, broke the glass. and she going all the way off. I was like, oh my gosh, no, somebody please do something. And I mean, it was so bad to the point where she going off, she upset. They basically pulling both of them to different sides. The woman over here apologized. She was like, Melody, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for doing this. And so she was like, that's why everybody need to leave me alone. Like, he went to his truck, and I guess he finally left. And then she was still there. She trying to pick up the glass. The woman was like, oh, don't do that. So she was like, I mean, I broke it. I'm trying to, clean up. And so the husband come back over there, and the wife was like, why didn't you put a muzzle on him? I'm like, why didn't you shut him up? Because he doing the most. And so he was like, well, he kept over talking, so I never really got a chance to do that. But yeah, it was a mess and a half to the point where she was like, look, we ain't gonna get back together. It is what it is. I mean, they had a whole speech planned out. It was like, yeah, I did this before. I was cheating on my wife, and we got things right. And I mean, we were separated for over a year, but we got back together. And I'm just like, they done went through this. They done went through the separation period. They done went through all that already. And he still was out here fighting and bopping. He was not using that time wisely to focus on his family and only his family. And I was like, wait a minute. So within the conversation before he ended up leaving, he had the audacity. Well, I don't believe it. Now, if this was true, I don't believe it. He had the audacity to say, well, I was the one who was with the kids full time. I was the one who had the kids the most. So when Milani came along, I was relinquishing the reins and all that. Y'all, I was just like, bruh, I can't. And Melody was sitting there like, okay, let me not even say nothing. Like, let me just not. And so she was like, he over here talking about he basically wants some time to himself now because he feel like he did all the stuff. And she was like, well, you might as well give that back on up because you already know you got another child on the way. So you ain't about to have none of that. I'm talking about it's a mess. And then, like, I can't, like, people like him, you could tell he finna come at you sideways because he was like, you could just, like, I got this on mute right now. I can tell he doing the most just by his facial expressions and the way that he moving his head and all of that. Like, it's just a certain thing that certain people do, and I just be looking like, bruh, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. But anyway, it ended terribly, as I expected it to. Yeah, everybody stop trying to root for a situation that ain't goals. I really wish that YouTube had it where, well, no, they have it where I could do that, but I don't know how to edit, so I can't put it up there. But basically, there were some pictures that it was actually a reel that I came across today that had a picture, and like the picture that we see looks like everything is perfect on the outside, but like one of the pictures, it showed a man and a woman together. The woman was sitting on the man's lap. They looked happy. But on half of the woman's face, she looked bruised and toe up and all this other stuff. So then the other picture came up. The dude was in a picture with this woman, and she had bags like crazy, and he had like a ball and chain on his leg. Like, it was like 3 random pictures like that. It was so crazy. Like, he felt like a prisoner. He didn't feel how he should feel. My thing is, if you want to buy stuff and have lavish gifts sent to somebody and given to somebody, you should want to do it and not feel like you are guilted into it and all this other stuff. But yeah, this was a mess. We gonna see what happened next time. Y'all have a good one. Bye.